Hey, what's up? You know those problems that seem impossible to solve, hidden outside our usual thinking box? Have you ever imagined if there was a way to stretch that box to see things from a totally new angle? What if I told you that one of the greatest geniuses in history, Albert Einstein, had a special technique to do exactly that, using only his mind? When we think of Einstein, the image of the brilliant scientist with complex equations comes to mind. But one of his most powerful tools wasn't in calculations. It was the ability to do Gedanken experiments, which is a fancy German word for thought experiments. He would create scenarios in his head, often impossible in the real world, like chasing a beam of light, and play around with the consequences. It was like having a laboratory inside his own mind. The big question is, can we use this idea of traveling in imagination in a focused way to solve our more practical problems, from work to personal life? I think yes. The first type of mental trip inspired by Einstein is to radically change the scale or the rules of the game. He imagined what it would be like to travel almost at the speed of light, something extreme. How do we do this? Take your problem and ask, how would this problem be seen 100 years from now? Would it even matter? If I were an alien looking at this from another planet, what would I think? What if the main rule or limitation of this problem didn't exist? Like, what if money or time wasn't an issue here? What solutions would appear? The goal here is to shake up our basic assumptions, freeing ourselves from self-imposed or too obvious limitations. Just by asking these crazy questions, sometimes the mind finds an unexpected path. Another technique Einstein used was imagining himself physically experiencing the problem. He pictured himself falling in a free-falling elevator to understand gravity in a new way. Our version of this: try to mentally put yourself in the place of another element in the problem. If I were my unhappy client, what would I really be feeling and wanting? If I were the product I'm trying to sell, what would be my greatest strength or flaw? In an argument, what would it be like to feel exactly what the other person is feeling, even if I disagree? The idea is to gain empathy and a different internal perspective, to look at the problem from the inside out, from an angle we usually ignore. Often, the solution is hidden in this perspective shift. Einstein was a master at challenging the obvious. He would take an established truth and ask, okay, but what if it's not really like that? We can do a reverse what if with our problems. How does it work? Identify your strongest belief or most basic assumption about the problem, like, I need this promotion to be happy. This project is impossible with this deadline. My boss will never listen to my idea. Now flip that belief inside out and ask, what if the opposite were true? What if I didn't need this promotion to be happy? What else would make me happy? What if this project were possible within this deadline? What would have to change? What if my boss could listen to my idea? How should I present it? Forcing your mind to explore the opposite scenario, even if it seems ridiculous at first, can unlock alternatives hidden behind our own limiting certainties. The cool thing is that it's not just daydreaming. Einstein used these thought experiments to explore new possibilities, but then he went back to logic, to math, to see what really made sense. For us, the lesson is, use imagination boldly and purposefully to generate ideas, then use common sense and analysis to filter and refine what came out of this trip. Ready to try? You don't have to be a genius to play mad scientist in your own mind. Next time a problem stubbornly won't move, try one of these thought experiments. Zoom out, change the camera, or flip a belief inside out. You might be surprised at what your own imagination can do. Which of these 3 experiments do you find most curious to try first? Tell us in the comments. If you like these Einstein-inspired ideas, leave a like so we can bring more. Thanks, and see you next time.